step up, step up. Who among you is not ready for a tale of high adventure, mythical creatures, and the most amazing man you'll ever meet? Yes, it is I, Dr. Elphias Mecurio, inviting you to step up, mesdames and messieurs, my damen and herren, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Dr. Mecurio's Mythical Marvels and Traveling Menagerie.
Dear readers, today is the 29th day of the month of Loki, of the year of the Tiefling. If you have inadvertently started reading my journal at this point, I highly recommend you start at the beginning, as it is a story worth hearing. But for those content to begin my story here, know that my name is Penelope Primrose, and I am currently floating in an airship high above the Sea of Nowhere on my way to my home on the Isle of Middleof. I guess you're lucky to be reading this journal at all, as earlier today it was almost run through the digestive tract of a rancorous grumbleduke. What's a rancorous grumbleduke, you may ask? Only the most ravenous dragon ever to have existed. That's right, I said dragon. So if you'd like to go back to the beginning of my story, go ahead. I'll be waiting for you right here until you get back. Now that they're gone, the day started quietly enough, and then... No, you don't! Precious, drop that journal right this instant! Oh, no, Ping, get off my head! This is not a game, young lady. Precious, do not eat the... Oh, those were my best boots! Sadie!
What's all this then? Wow, you really need to tidy up in here a bit. What's Precious doing in here, Penelope? You know she's supposed to be confined below deck.
A fact I'm quite aware of, Sadie. I'm also aware of the fact that you're supposed to be in charge of keeping her there.
Don't blame me if she gets out. She's eaten her way through 3 doors, each one stronger than the last. Obviously, number 4 was no match for her either. I was on my way to discuss it with the doctor when I heard you bellowing like a banshee.
I was bellowing because she ate my best pair of boots.
You're lucky that's all she ate. She ate one of my landmines this morning. All it did was make her a little gassy. There's your boots, your big baby. Well, one of them anyway. She must be full. Better out than in, as my mama used to say.
Before I could clout her with a slimy boot, Sprocket burst through the door.
What's all the hullabaloo? Really, Penelope? What have I told you about keeping your quarters tidy? May I remind you that it's all about organisation? For instance, do you really need that old slimy boot?
Before I could tell her exactly what she should do with said slimy boot, my simpering sibling of a brother, Percy, tried to squeeze into the already overcrowded room. Now, my room is quite cramped with just a little frost dragon and myself, but its current occupancy of 3 adults, 2 baby dragons, and 1 idiot had it bursting at the seams.
Is it afternoon tea already? Really, dear sister, you should tidy up a bit before entertaining guests. This room never looked this disheveled when I lived here.
My thoughts turned to wondering the best way to clobber the lot of them with my slimy boot when, not surprisingly, there was a quick knock and Mercurio burst in, knocking me down in front of the little grumbleduke, who started licking my face. Ugh, I wasn't too sure whether she was apologizing for the trouble she caused, or was just checking to see if I tasted better than my boots.
I'm glad I caught you all in one place. I'm assembling a meeting to go over plans for our latest adventure and need you all to meet me in the galley at 9 bells. Do not be late. And Miss Primrose.
Yes, sir?
Quit playing with that dragon and put down that boot and tidy up these quarters. Have some pride in your surroundings, girl.
After ejecting the lot of them, with Sadie and Precious the last to go, the little piggy decided to finish off the other boot. Well, as my old ma used to say, waste not, etc., slamming the door in her face, I set about mucking out my quarters, and thinking about how many more boots I'll be losing after we acquire the next dragon. And there was still one to find after that. Not that I'd admit it to anyone else, but I found myself wondering if Mecurio had totally thought this traveling dragon menagerie through. He says that this is all part of some master plan, but sometimes it seems that he's making it all up as we go. I finished my room before the planning meeting was to get underway, and decided to consult the Encyclopedia Mercurium to learn as much about the local flora and fauna of the Himalayas and the country of Dog-Mandu, where the treacherous mountain peaks resided. According to the encyclopedia, the land was populated with a race of dog people known as the Shepherd Guides. Their main export, a refreshing water beverage bottled straight from one of the melting glaciers, dog water. Its chief import was, of course, the squeaky chew toys. Most of the citizens were employed in the lucrative business of guiding climbers up and down and up the two colossal mountain peaks, Everest, which towers over 5 miles above the ground, and Underest, which is an inverted mountain stretching over 6 miles underneath the frozen tundra. According to Mecurio, it was here that we'd find the next dragon crystal. Unfortunately, according to the book, it was also where a ferocious beast made its home, known as
a yeti. Now, I must say, although I have never seen one, I have heard that they are magnificent creatures. They're an Amazonian society with the female of the species towering over 12 feet in height, compared to the male counterparts who come in around, 5 foot 8 inches.
I'm 5'8".
Yes, Percy, don't interrupt. They're also heavily muscled with razor-sharp claws, gnashing teeth, and covered in the most luxurious fur. More luxurious than anything you'll find in the 13 dimensions. According to the alchemist's latest note, he disguised himself as a Yeti shaman, left the egg in the care of their queen, telling her that he would return in 100 years to retrieve it.
And how many years has it been?
Well, after carbon dating the note, combined with our 13-month cycle and the lunar phases of the stars, I can say without a doubt that I have no idea. But that's not our biggest problem, because as I may possess a plethora of disguises, I am sadly lacking a Yeti fur coat. And as you are aware, there's no substitute for Yeti fur. To send someone in there dressed in anything else would spell certain doom.
Hold on a tick. By someone, you mean me. That's why you're insisting on getting me a fur coat. Well, that's it. I won't stand for it any further. You'll just have to find someone else to bait this time. Just count me out.
Percy, I miff that you would consider your contributions to our ventures the act of someone who is mere bait. You are so much more than that, dear boy. A talented actor, fashion expert, chief petty officer in charge of waste removal. Those are just a few of the hats that you wear upon this ship.
What's a petty officer in charge of waste removal?
you're in charge of picking up dragon shit.
The point is, you are an invaluable member of this crew.
Do you really think so, sir?
Of course not, Percy. In reality, you could be replaced with a monkey from any of the higher order of primates.
Or a sloth.
Or a dung beetle.
No, I think a monkey about covers it.
Of course, for the monkey, it would be considered a demotion. So unless you want to find yourself on the wrong end of the banana, I would suggest shutting up while I finish my plan.
Excuse me for saying so, Doctor, but without the proper disguise, Percy could get killed. And I'm not particularly fond of monkeys. That doesn't leave us with a lot of options.
My dear Florence, just because I don't have any Yeti fur at the moment does not mean that I can't acquire some along the way to Dog-Mandu. Just need to make a little stop along the way.
Very good, sir. What shall I set our new heading to?
Why, I'm surprised at you, Florence. The destination should be as obvious as the nose on your face. Where's the one place in all the 13 dimensions where one can acquire anything one desires, for the right price, of course? That shining jewel where all cultures come together to sell their wares or ply their trades, and most importantly, where we are not currently wanted for any of our past transgressions.
The Isle of Middleof it is, then. Do I need to remind you, though, sir, that our coffers are appallingly low on gold, so making purchases other than a sack of moldy potatoes might be a wee bit beyond our budget.
Not to worry, my dear. As always, I have a plan to raise some capital. The difference being this time without resorting to nefarious deeds.
Very good, sir. Which leaves us with the Yeti fur for Percy's disguise. As you said, it's extremely rare. Are you sure we'll be able to locate it? Even in a place like the Middleof Bazaar?
That's why our first stop, after replenishing our cache, will be paying a visit to the country's foremost tracker, hunter, and adventurer, not to mention the Dimension's chief hoarder and pack rat.
Mother!
Everyone was extremely enthusiastic to be heading back home. What with searching for the dragons and ducking old wanted posters, it had been quite some time since we had set foot on the shores of our beloved Middleof. For those with a historical interest, it was discovered by the Doctor's great-great-great-great-great-grandfather, Dr. Malcolm Mecurio, the inventor of Red Dragon Tonic. It seems he came across the strange isle while trying to flee an armada of angry airship pirates. It seems they had a less than favourable reaction to the toxic tonic and were looking to feed Malcolm to the fishes. He had been blasted from the sky and crashed on the island's rocky beach, but as the armada was coming out of the sun to pepper what was left of him and his ship, the island instantly disappeared and reappeared in an entirely different location. As the Mercurios were all learned men and entrepreneurs, he recognized the incredible discovery almost immediately. You see, for those of you with a geological interest and lack an Encyclopedia Mercurium, Middleof is a floating interdimensional island, which means it is never in the same place you left it in. The island's crust is saturated with a bizarre microscopic element called Boo-Baroo, which has magnetic properties causing the island to move in correlation with the planet's core. This keeps the island continually on the move and in a different location every few hours. For most, the only way to find Middleof is to sail to the exact center of the ocean of nowhere and wait for the island to appear, making sure to land before the isle disappears to a new location. For a select few, those lucky enough to have one of the 6 Boo-Baroo stones, you can attach the mineral to your compass and simply just fly in the direction to where the arrow points. Middleof will show up on your horizon 2 hours later. As Malcolm was basically shipwrecked, he set to learn the secrets of the mysterious atoll and claimed the island in the name of the Mecurio family. 5 years later, his airship reappeared, and its riddle solved. Malcolm left to do what Mercurios have done throughout antiquity when presented with such an amazing find. He set out to exploit the island to the fullest extent possible. As you can probably guess, Middleof is the perfect place for black marketers and scofflaws such as ourselves. Even if the authorities were to stumble upon the island, within an hour or two of the attack, the atoll would vanish, and you'd be somewhere else. Knowing this, the elder Mecurio auctioned off 4 of the stones to his peers, keeping the largest of the remaining stones to pass down to his descendants. Returning to Middleof, he built the family manor and installed himself as governor and retired in the lap of luxury. The subsequent loss of the family fortune, as well as the Mecurio family's fall from power, is a story best left for another time, as Sprocket has just sounded the landing whistle and I am needed on deck.
Dr. Mecurio's Mythical Marvels and Traveling Menageries stars the voices of Annamarie Macleod, Claire Whitaker, Star Haggen Esquerra, Ray Esquerra, and Ricki Vincent as Dr. Mecurio. To learn more how you can have dragons at your next party or event, please contact Dr. Mecurio at Dr. Mecurio page at thepuppetryinstitute.org.